Liverpool 2, Newcastle 0. 13 points clear, 10 games to play. Arsenal bottled it again. A goal difference of plus 40 compared to Arsenal's 28. Arsenal have a game in hand. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. The red machine just keeps rolling on, and it is a red machine. It's just quite phenomenal to watch. We've won 32 of our 43 games now this season. That's the most wins by any team in all of Europe's Big Five leagues. It's the 25th game in 28 league games where we've scored 2 or more goals. Only a 1-0 win against Crystal Palace and both games against Forest did we not score 2 or more goals in every single league game this season. It's 66 goals in the league now, far and away ahead of anybody else. Our second goal was our 100th goal in all competitions this season. On the day where we virtually seal it, we scored our 100th goal. And we've still got the Champions League to come, the League Cup final to come, and 10 more league games to come. We've already scored 100. We're also 23 league games unbeaten, and that's the second best in our entire history. So it's just absolutely magical. So let's move on to the game. First half, Anna went back to a front three with Diaz out wide, Jota in the middle, Salah on the other side, and he re-established the Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai midfield, and he gave Robbo a rest, which is really good management, I think, and brought in Kostas Tsimikas. The rotation he's doing is absolutely perfect. That Robbo for Tsimikas thing just shows how he's managing everybody's time and minutes. At the same time, Newcastle had no Isak. Can't deny that was a big help. And then Eddie Howe decided to play Anthony Gordon in some kind of, I don't know what role he was supposed to be playing, but he wasn't playing out left against Trent, and it just gave Trent the freedom to do what he wanted today. It was terrible by Eddie Howe, but Eddie Howe, you see, against Liverpool, he's got a big mental block. He's been manager of teams that have faced Liverpool 21 times, including today, and he's won 1. He's obviously got a mental block or something, because I don't know what he was up to today. The whole Newcastle setup was odd. So let's get the Stuart Atwell bollocks out the way first. So during this game, he denied an absolute blatant penalty to Liverpool in minute number 2. And the bigger issue here is, why did that not go to VAR? It was very, very clearly a foul on Salah, not by Salah. And then, after the first foul, he then drags him down in the box. And it's a stonewall penalty, and he just waves it away, but nothing happened. There's no VAR, there's no anything. Why? This goes back to my whole PGMOL stuff. Why? Anyway, sorry about the little rant, but this just gets on my wick. It really does. I just can't handle seeing this incompetence going on every week. He also disallowed a goal for Liverpool because he says that Kanate fouled the goalkeeper when he didn't. He also, what's his name, Gutierrez, I think, dragged 2 Liverpool players back when we were breaking. Both were yellow cards, both times he didn't give them. And it's just another absolutely shocking display by an official, with very, very biased decisions being made. But they still can't stop us. So the first 15 minutes, we completely pinned them back. They were playing 5-5-0. And I don't know why they would possibly think that that's a good idea. This Newcastle team can't defend. Eddie Howe teams can't defend in general. Bournemouth couldn't defend when he was manager there. And they can't. And it's sort of funny, I've been listening to the pundits recently about how Newcastle's form is so brilliant. And it isn't. We're supposed to be having a blip, and they're supposed to be superb at the moment. Oh, it's a tricky one. This is Newcastle. Do you know in the last 5 games, Newcastle, before today, last 5 league games, Newcastle had conceded 13 goals in 5 league games. So it's now 15 and 6. They just can't defend. So you come to Anfield and set up in a defensive block. It's never going to work. And it didn't. We were probing, we were picking our passes, and then Luis Diaz, who was brilliant, gets the ball out wide, knocks it into Szoboszlai, who's got all the time in the world. It was similar to the Man City goal. And he just picks his spot. And I think it took a little deflection, but boom, we're 1-0 up. And it was easy. And then there was a stat, another brilliant stat, that in the last 91 games that we've taken the lead, taken a 1-0 lead, we've only lost 1. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll take that. Callum Wilson, who'd come back in after being out all season, had 2 chances. One, well, no, he didn't. He had 1 chance because the first one, he put one wide, but that was offside. The second one might have been called offside, we're not sure, but he put that one wide as well. That was it in the entire game. There was a moment where Lucho gets the ball in our own half and he goes past about 3 players. They're all trying to drag him back. He gets all the way into the box, knocks it back to Costas, who's in a glorious position. And this is the only time I'm ever going to compare Costas to Kevin De Bruyne, because he almost hit the corner flag the way De Bruyne did last week at about the same time in the game as well. Shocking shot, Costas, mate, but you're forgiven because you had a hell of a good game. Then Pope bottles it and hits the ball at Salah, and the lucky git, it runs just out of play and he gets away with it. Newcastle had a little bit of a go, meaning they got a few men forward a couple of times, but they had no conviction in their attack at all. So we ended the half 1-0 up. On to the second half. It started a couple of injuries, then it was really scrappy. It was really scrappy for about 15 minutes of the second half, and I blamed the cop for that, because they told the team that Arsenal had drawn. If we were in 3rd gear in the first half, I think we went into 4th gear for about 15 minutes, and it was just scrappy. The lads it was too easy. It was just too easy. But then, of course, up steps the genius that is Mo Salah. And all the good work up to giving the ball to Salah was done by McAllister. Superb drive and run towards the box. He gives it to Salah, and this is where he's so brilliant, because I have no idea what he's going to do. So therefore the defenders have no idea what he's going to do. So he kind of juggles the ball a little bit backwards and forwards, and then lays the perfect ball back to McAllister, who's inside the box, and he curls it home. And it's just a fantastic goal, brilliant by both McAllister and by Salah. This is the thing about Salah now. When he's in that position, the defenders have got to guess, because they don't know if he's going to go left or he's going to go right. They don't know if he's going to curl it in with the outside of his boot or curl it in with the inside of his boot and score, or is he going to pull it back? Is he going to blast it? What's he going to do? And at the same time, they're thinking, shit, is he going to pass it to the overlapping player? Is he going to pass it back into the middle? They don't know. It's spectacular to watch. I am just enthralled watching the man play. And from then on, at 2-0, that was it. It was over. Salah and the entire supporting cast just played with Newcastle. Played with them. We were showboating as well. And normally you're like, hey lads, don't be showboating, but I had no problem with them doing it today. There was back heels, there was flicks, there were overhead kicks. Salah was just taking the piss whenever he wanted. It was his playground. And I loved it. I was just sitting there gloating, because it was just a joy to watch. Don't forget, this is a team trying to get top 4. And then Arne was able to do a whole raft of changes. He brought on Jones, Endo, Darwin, Gakpo, Kwanzaa, and nothing changed. They just continued to be this red, efficient machine that was just dismantling Newcastle whenever it wanted. Newcastle didn't have a single shot in the whole game. Had they by any chance scored, I think this team would have just gone on 2 or 3 gears and put them away. It was that easy. And one thing that really struck me, the work rate. Every single Liverpool player, so all of the 10 outfield players who start and the 5 outfield players that came on, were all snapping into tackles, were all full of energy, drive, ambition. Every one of them was a difference maker. And it didn't change one iota when the 5 subs came on. And it was machine-like. The balance, the efficiency, everything about the performance. I mean, we schooled Newcastle with it. After we just schooled Manchester City in a completely different way. And it's brilliant, and we did it at an absolute canter. So we end the game 2-0. So on to the shout-outs. Salah's the first shout-out again. He was magnificent. I've already said a lot about him, so I'll keep it brief. But 25 goals now and 17 assists. 42 Premier League goal contributions. And he could have had 2-3 more. One ball he put in with the outside of his foot that Lucho almost got on the end of. He was unlucky to not score a couple when Newcastle just about got blocks in, but he was just absolutely magnificent in every way. He is going to win the Ballon d'Or. He has to. Surely to God he has to. The second shout out just goes to the engine room of Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister. Those 3, Curtis Jones is an able deputy, but those 3 are magnificent. And I've talked about balance and energy and drive and creativity. They're now offering goals and assists. 2 more goals today from 2 of those midfielders. Apart from scoring and creating and getting assists, they're a blanket to the defence and they're the creative spark for the attack. They're perfection. And then you add, Jones and you add Endo onto that. And then the third shout out, I'm just going to call them out as all of the subs today and the returning players. So Kostas Tsimikas, Jota, and all the 5 that came on. I've already mentioned them, but I just want to give them a nod because all of them played their part today. Kostas has not let us down all season. He has had to be used because, Robbo has struggled a little bit with his energy and the amount of game time. And when he's come in, he's done brilliantly. Jota put in a great shift. Didn't get a goal or an assist today, but great to see him back now, almost able to complete a game. And that's going to be big as we move forward now with Champions League and League Cup and the remaining league games. I have to also talk about the defence, who haven't been getting enough love really, because as we've let in a couple of goals, against Aston Villa, against Everton, but once again, 2nd clean sheet in a row. Newcastle didn't have a shot on target. Virgil and Konate, the best central defensive partnership, possibly in world football, certainly in the Premier League, probably in the world. And then Trent, who had a tricky time against the tricky Doku, but a word of advice, Eddie Howe, if you're going to give Trent the freedom of Anfield, he's going to destroy you. And some of Trent's passing today and some of his work with the ball was just fantastic. Basically, I'm giving a shout out to everyone, haven't I? Oh well, they all deserve it. So, we haven't yet mathematically won it. Arsenal are not yet mathematically out of it. But I'm going to say, you can give me some grief if you want, 1 game at a time and all that. That's for the manager and the players and lots of fans. But come on, it might not be mathematically certain, but it's pretty much damn certain now that this title is coming back to us. I think we won it today. Combined with the Arsenal score, we won it today. This team is simply too good for Arsenal with the remaining games to pull back 13 points. It's not going to happen. So now we can win the league by just winning our last 6 home games, irrespective of what Arsenal do, because that would mean they would lose one because they're playing us. But just with that, just winning the home games and we win it. And you know what? If it's good enough for the cop to be singing, we're going to win the league, then it's good enough for me, and I'm going to say it right now for the first time. We are going to win the league. I'll see you after the PSG game. You'll never walk alone. Cheers to that.